there's a microphone right there to catch the last gurgles, and Technicolor to photograph the red swollen tongue.
Hey, Vern.
Future events such as these
Angling?
will affect you in the future.
Damn you, Rabbit! You smell like fucking piss!
You're watching The Projectors,
Hell yeah!
a film fan program discussing a variety of movies from history and around the world.
What do you think of this boner I got?
Featuring your hosts, Bob Sham
When you're Scandinavian, flopping out your mommy milkers is nothing.
and Angela.
If they were just gun perverts, this would be fine.
Party!
Thank you for selecting The Projectors.
I want French pancakes like at IHOP.
And now a preview of our film discussion.
People undertake journeys for many reasons. Some for duty, some for adventure, and some for love. I had no reasons for being here, at least none that I could understand. I pretended it wasn't my choice, but it was. Now I stood on unfamiliar ground, looking at unfamiliar faces, wondering with one word, why? Why was I here?
Hello, folks. Welcome to the last recording of the Projectors of 2025.
You paused pretty long between those words.
I'm wearing my camera setups. Like, put the arm right in it. I'm wearing my GQ cap for only $15. I got 8 months worth of GQs and this bucket hat. I wore it when we were movie humping, when it was called Movie Humpers.
Yeah.
I wore this for like a month straight, and people did ask about it when I stopped wearing it. One person did.
Oh, hey person, it's back.
Who knows? They might be gone. They might have moved on to the Joe Rogan experience or something. So I'm wearing my GQ. It kind of makes me look a little pinheaded, this hat. Kind of makes my head look narrow, like it's pointy.
No more than anyone else that wears a bucket cap.
Some people wear bucket hats okay. I don't think I'm one of them, but I'm wearing them. I'm wearing it for this recording. In our Christmas recordings, we were like, we have 3 M. Night Shyamalan movies left. And we completely forgot Lady in the Water. You'd think you'd forget Praying with Anger or Wide Awake, the ones that no one knows about.
Or The Happening.
Or The Happening. We didn't forget The Happening. I wish we did.
I have forgotten After Earth, I think.
But we did forget Lady in the Water. So we have 4 M. Night discussions here. And let me tell you, our show, we do it the way we want to. So what that means is 0 success. Even negative success even. And for this episode, I think maybe Lady in the Water has some pull because people do like M. Night Shyamalan. And that's one of his bigger movies. It's not really a big movie. It was like a movie that just barely broke even. But I guess what I'm saying is like Wide Awake, Praying with Anger, and The Last Avatar. Like
Airbender.
The Last Airbender. These aren't movies that are going to be pulling people in. Like, oh, I need to know what they're going to say about M. Night Shyamalan's movie about being a college exchange student in India. And or his second movie, Wide Awake, which is incredibly boring. Actually, boring across the board, all these.
Yes.
And look, we can handle some boring shit. We could watch some artsy-fartsy shit. We watched like a movie about French people on a boat. And we were like, this is a good movie. I think this is boring compared to that. I know, look, I wish people would be as curious about Jean Vigo as we are. It's all right if you're not. That's just how it is. We get it. Movies might not exist in 10 years. It's at least as far as going to the theaters. especially with AI coming up. And I see people posting shit like, hey, check it out. AI is going to take out films. Check out this scene we made. And it'll be like everyone has the flattest line deliveries from these AI models. How can no one see that the mediocrity there? The reality is that we do a movie podcast. We're not sitting around talking about like the new Marvel trailers over and over and over again. So it is very niche, and our numbers reflect how niche it truly is. I mean, it's not just YouTube, it's podcasts too, but let's be honest, it ain't popping off. And I don't expect it to pop off much more. But we made a promise of a full year of our theme of talking about M. Night Shyamalan movies called Getting It Twisted with M. Night Shyamalan. And we're going to finish it off. And then at the end of the episode, I'm going to tell you, if you'll remember in our last discussion, it was between John McTiernan or Catherine Bigelow, which of those directors we were going to discuss in 2026, as well as some other themes that we're talking about next year. So let's rush through these M. Night Shyamalan movie discussions. And then we'll talk about what's in store for the Projectors for 2026. Our first movie of his very first one, like a student film, called Praying with Anger from 1992, written, directed, produced, starring M. Night Shyamalan and his buddy Michael Muthu. Cinematography by Madhu Ambat. And this movie had a budget of $900,000.
Wow.
We could only find like a very fuzzy version of it online. Like you can watch this for free. You can throw it up on YouTube. And it is very fuzzy. But I have often complimented M. Night in the past for shot choices and stuff. Like he can make things look okay. So I kind of had to look between the copy of a copy of a copy that we only have access to out here. And I will say that this movie's not good. But I think it is my favorite of the four for me, because I do think it has that personable edge to it. And I think all these movies have, exception of maybe The Last Airbender, have something of him in it, like a personable touch. But I feel like there was like a little bit of a sincerity here that I liked, but it just wasn't represented in a... I feel like all these movies are the same in that like the emotions seem very forced. And then, like, we're getting to the points that they don't feel natural as we get to the points. Praying with Anger from 1992, we're told that this guy, as played by Dev, is played by M. Night Shyamalan. He's he's a hurt fellow.
We will be having an exchange student this semester, an Indian boy from America. His name is Dev Raman. Strong academic record, but bit of a rough one, I'm afraid. He has a history of getting into fistfights. I assume we are intended to straighten him out. And that we will.
They say he's angry.
He's so fucking angry.
They say he's got a lot of anger. You know, a lot of teenage boys have a lot of anger.
He's in college.
Oh, right. Well,
remember, this is college.
I don't remember how old he is,
but understand why you think it's a teenager because of the way the other students at the college treat him.
They act like they're in high school. It's very high school. There's very, school bully picks on the new kid. He's obviously a nerd. But I do think he gets across the feeling of someone who maybe doesn't feel that he belongs in the place he was raised and also the place where he is ancestrally from. He doesn't know where he fits.
There was a bit of a curiosity here that this movie did make me think about greater cultural things in the sense of course, the Hindu religion is very obviously tied up to the country of India. But when he talks about the Western world, when he's setting things of where he's from against Hinduism and the faith of India, which is all intertwined, he doesn't talk about like Catholicism because he went to Catholic school, as we'll discuss in Wide Awake. He doesn't, and he is Catholic, I think he converted. He doesn't talk about like religion against religion. He's talking about the West and India, Hindu. And it's like one in the same. So it made me kind of wonder about first generation. Like every Indian person I knew that was Hindu were an older person that were born in the country and came over. Everyone that I had ever met. I don't know if I've ever known any first generation Indian folk At least I haven't talked to him much about it, but maybe I'll ask more. Is that just so hard to hang on to that Hindu identity when you're just so far away from the heartbeat of Hinduism that is India, because of the way he discussed it? Because the way we would discuss religions where we're from, we'd be like, we would just compare them as religions, but he's literally comparing a whole region of the globe against a religion.
I think it depends on community, right? So where he grew up, he went to Catholic school. He was not surrounded by or anyone, I would think. You know, if you're not surrounded by it, I do think it'd be harder to hang on to. But I think if you live somewhere where you have a solid like group of people who come from a similar background, you could, because it would be the community that you would have. Otherwise, especially as a young person, you're going to want to fit in.
We do have a Ganesha temple in Nashville. And
yes, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I haven't been in it, but it looks very nice on the outside. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I am curious as to, like, once you're Americanized, once you're that first generation and you're having your family, what happens to that faith that you're descended from? And I hear what you're saying, but I think if I could say anything positive about American culture, there's a lot of positive things I could say, but not in an overall sense. I'd have to get into much details. But I think in a more broader sensibility, one thing I do that I can, a rare compliment to the broader sensibilities of American culture, is that it kind of moderates everything when people come over, whether a lot of their faith. I mean, there's a lot of anti-Islamic sentiment in this country, of course, that's still been around, that is flamed by, of course, they're concentrating on trying to kill Venezuelans right now, but
it always comes back around, unfortunately.
But every like Muslim person I've ever met in my day-to-day life, or like no one's trying to force anything on everyone. There's something about our culture that regulates things in the world. Like when the world comes here, they don't want to lose all of their identity, but they do genuinely want to be American and live an American life and have these opportunities that were pitched to them that may or may not come true, because a lot of it is a bit overselling because we are having a hard time. But yeah, I'm just casually curious about that. So if I'm nice to this movie, especially compared to the others, it is because of the way it made me think about those things culturally. And maybe I thought about those in some level of depth in spite of the movie. Mm-hmm. And I imagine if I ever talked to M. Night Shyamalan, I think I might talk to him about this movie more than any, because of what we just talked about.
You know, it being a first movie,
you can't say it's bad for a first movie.
It's not bad for a first movie, but also everything that you just said, I would imagine having a conversation with him, just starting out telling him, you know, these are the kind of things that made me think of, this is what, you know, I think that's correct. Like, I think he wanted to make people think about, you know, these differences of, well, and obviously it's particularly like how he grew up, but thinking those bigger thoughts and even in relation to yourself or people that you know seems to be the point of this. He's brought it down into a story of one kid trying to figure his shit out, but
him trying to figure out his identity of where his ancestors come from.
Right.
The Indian family that keeps him, they don't trust him.
No.
They don't even want him talking to their daughter, who's going to get married to someone else. But I was also sitting here thinking, like he's just first gen. He's probably got aunts and uncles and shit, like, in the country.
I would have thought that's who you would think he'd be staying with.
That may be the more common sense concept, but in the story, he wants to feel like a full outsider.
Yeah, and he also makes up some story about how he's been forced to come to India, but he says early on that
to make
it's
his parents happy, right?
Well, I think his dad died, right?
Right.
And he got in some trouble. He decided to go to India. He says it's his own choice. But he's told everyone that his mom made him. This
family has a son named Sanjay, who is his buddy throughout the movie. But they're going to college, and he encountered his bullies.
So, you're from the U.S., huh?
Yeah.
Do you like college here?
Sure. Who are you guys?
Hey. We'll ask the questions. You just answer.
35-year-old bullies.
So, yeah, he's being bullied. The dynamic is very much a high school dynamic here, but they're in college. And again, Dev is supposed to be very, very angry. And yet this guy gets shoved around 10 times before he finally does anything. And yet he does have Sanjay in his ear saying like, oh, this is just how it is here, which is insane. If people were trying to bully me in college the way I was bullied in high school, I would be in jail. Because, like, there's no way I'm going to let some grown-ass man do whatever. Like, that's just not what bullying in college looks like.
No. I mean, and that's exactly what it is Sanjay gets treated like this all the time. It's so very... It gets into hazing almost, where they're trying to make him do certain things. And they say it's because he's new, but they're doing it to Sanjay too. That part doesn't make any sense. Also, everyone he meets, the principal in particular and his teachers are like, we're going to fucking watch out for you. You better not cause any trouble. Yeah. You're such a bad kid. I'm watching you. And so they posit that he's like worried about getting in trouble. But if he gets in trouble, it's just go back home. Go back home.
It doesn't seem like there's a big loss if he just fights back.
Yeah.
And if he was really as angry as the story wants me to think he is, no, he would have swung on these guys. Maybe you'd give him one time where he turns the other cheek. And other than that, like an angry guy would not be able to handle it the way he does.
Yeah. It's also very immature in that he has the... I'm in love with a girl from just seeing her across the room. Like, he's immediately in love with this girl. I mean, she's beautiful, but, like, they've never spoken... But he's in love. Yeah,
he's like, I can't handle it here. I want to go home. And Sanjay gives him a tough talk. And then he lightens up. And then he meets the hot girl. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, I like India. There's things to know here.
He starts talking about how beautiful the country is and how he's so happy to be learning everything he's learning here.
I think a lot of the M. Night isms is apparent, like right in the start here, but the way it kind of goes through is a little clumsy because the acting. I mean, he's not a great actor; he's doing what he can. I do get that it's a personal thing for him, and I think all the Indian actors are fine. Like I can't fault that, but the way it goes from like I hate everything to everything's cool now. Just seemed to lack a lot of subtlety. It was just like a go from get to the point and then get to the other point. And that's what a lot of M. Night Shyamalan movies feel. It's a lot of unearned emotions, unearned turns, and maybe not enough thought process on how to get from point A to point B.
Yeah, you don't get the introspection. And he wouldn't have to take that long to do it. But he doesn't do it at all.
I feel like I think M. Night Shyamalan does have a lot of introspection, and I think that is apparent in his concepts. But in his execution, it just comes off sometimes a little too simple.
Oh, well, I meant, yes, he does. Yeah. But he doesn't give his characters that benefit.
Yeah, they don't get much.
We don't get to know why they actually change their mind a lot of times. They just change their mind because they need to.
Everyone asks him,
have you met Michael Jackson?
That is kind of a funny joke.
Yeah.
As I was talking earlier, does Dev have a religion? And just before I even looked it up, I was like, M. Night is very Christian coded. And sure enough, he converted to Christianity going through Catholic high school, private Catholic school. His dad grew up in India, of course, so he's going to go to where his dad's home is. And they have like maybe the sweeter part of the movie where he teaches these young village Indian kids to play football.
That was sweet.
And he goes into the dad's home and he sees like the shadow of his father, like representing like a ghost, like a spirit. And he talks to him. And
he sleeps in his room.
And this should be a pretty powerful moment. But one of the most unfortunate visual choices I've ever seen in a movie occurs.
I forgot.
Now, you see the shadow of his dad across from Dev's shadow. And I know the concept is that the shadows should merge father into son, like the spirits going into the son.
And he might have even been thinking about it going into his heart.
Yes. But what it looks like is that the shadow of his father is bending down to suck his son's shadow dick.
It does.
That's what it looks like. It looks like his dad is bending down to blow him.
It's so obvious that I don't know how no one spotted it.
No one was there to be like, that looks like your dad sucking you off.
Well, like, he should have seen it. It's either one of those I think it's either one of those things where you're just too close to it to look at it through someone else's eyes to see what someone else might think. Or I like to think someone maybe told him and he went, No one's gonna think that. I'm talking to my dead dad.
It reminds me of those like those evangelical books that'll be like On My Knees for Him or something like that.
Yes.
Like these things that are very well intentioned that are supposed to be something that has an emotional weight.
But it's like fill me up, Jesus.
But it's just like accidentally just this hilarious like double entendre that they don't even see.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of that. So Sanjay, he tells him a little bit about the Hindu deities, but he talks about emotion and correlation to them. And like you can apparently pray to the Hindu deities in a variety of feelings. You can even be angry and pray at them, just so long as you don't pray with indifference. That's all that matters.
You should be feeling something.
So you can be really fucking pissed off at Kali or something and be like, I'm praying to you. What did you do?
It makes sense to me. It's that whole, the person who can make you the maddest is the one you love the most. If you don't feel strongly for someone, you're not going to care. You know, you would think if you were indifferent, you just wouldn't pray at all. But I guess the whole thing is, it's really a don't go through the motions.
So
if you only do it if you mean it.
It's like when someone goes to a KFC in their town 20 times, and then the 21st time, it's a real shitty experience. But that's the time that they make the Yelp review. Maybe that's what the Hindu religion is kind of like.
Okay.
Maybe someone can verify that later. So Dev is about to go home. He's got mixed feelings about it. And so he goes to talk to the girl that he never seemed to really truly date.
And she's like, I have an arranged marriage. And he's so shocked by it.
He's like blown away. It's like, bro, you're leaving.
But also that's what they do.
Yeah.
She doesn't get to pick who she marries.
I thought you figured this country out at this point.
You don't get married to somebody because your stars line up.
Dave, please. This is what has been planned for me. This is what I have to do.
You don't believe that. I know you don't believe that.
I don't know what I believe in anymore. Everything is so confusing.
To be a young man and irrationally upset over that, I guess I can get it. But there was just something kind of ridiculous about the scene because other than him just liking her, it didn't seem like it really was anything.
No.
At all.
She seemed to like him too, but she also was like, yeah, except I can't be with you.
So the bully that he encounters is the movie kind of shifts this tone in a way that's very clumsy. But the bully's in trouble. If I heard them right, he had accidentally killed a kid while drunk driving.
I couldn't understand everything, but apparently Gupta's little daughter was killed. The father and the little girl were walking down the road, and a car got out of control and knocked the child down. The driver was a Muslim man. He was drunk. Everyone's blaming everyone.
Also, this is when it's revealed that the bully is Muslim. Of course, there's like a long history, India, Pakistan, Muslims within India, Hindu within Pakistan. There can be issues that go back. So the movie kind of pulls that, like in the poster here I'm reading, in a land torn apart by hate, he found the strength to love. But the hate part, the political part, was not referenced at all until the bully needed to be Muslim to represent this division within the country.
Yeah.
And that was so tacked on. It was like, you couldn't set up. I feel like this is a common complaint with M. Night movies is like, you didn't set this up.
No, it just
and suddenly
was.
We're just doing it.
Yeah.
And the bully is about to get burned alive by this crowd who is understandably mad at him. He did kill a little girl, but Dev stands up for him.
Oh, all his friends abandoned him too.
Yeah, the bully's friends abandoned him. And Dev stands up for him, and he gets out of there, and he prevents the immolation, and the bully walks away. But didn't he kill a kid? Like, I don't think a mob should be lynching him either.
But they need to take him to jail.
But wouldn't you call some law or something? Throughout the movie, the bully demands that Dev salutes him. So Dev goes back to the school. It's his last day before he leaves, and he sees the bully. Again, didn't he kill a kid? And the bully salutes Dev for saving his life.
There was a part that I thought was a little fuzzy where I thought it could have been that he killed the kid or that it was a different biker and they just thought it was him and he happened to be drunk and with his friends.
I might have been a little confused.
So they blamed him, but I was confused too. I would believe it both ways, but then when he was at school, I was like, well, maybe it wasn't him. It was a little fuzzy. But again, because it came up too fast without any real explanation.
And maybe we got that wrong, but no one's going to correct us because no one's watched this movie. And no one's going to watch this episode because we're talking about this movie.
But we're completists, and if there's boring ones in the future, we'll try to sprinkle them in with the good ones.
But it's time to pray with anger.
We got to score this guy.
1 through 5. I'm going to be a very generous because I'm doing it in the context of him, a young filmmaker, his very first film. He's got his problems, a lot of which he never shook, but I do sense a personalness in here.
Yes.
I think there is sincerity in Shyamalan in spite of his executions. So I'm going to give it a very generous 2.25.
I am going to be even more generous because I was going to give him a 2.5. Just straight down the middle.
You know what? Me too. So we're going to go 5.
Okay, 5.
Praying with anger. And I think for your first fuzzy-ass looking movie, hey, that ain't so bad. That ain't so bad.
We're giving him a lot of grace.
Remember grade school? When you had your best teacher, met your best friend.
What do you think about her? She's okay.
Pulled off your greatest pranks. Faced your first bully.
Can't. Why?
Felt your first loss. And found your first love.
She's hot. I think I'm having a biological reaction.
Remember what it's like to experience life for the first time. Rosie O'Donnell, Dennis Leary, and Dana Delaney.
That's not funny. Is that funny?
Wide Awake.
The grace goes out the window here.
Oh, yeah, this is bad.
As we discuss the 1998 movie Wide Awake.
Wide Awake.
Directed, written by M. Night Shyamalan. Produced by Kathy Conrad, Kerry Wood. Starring Dennis Leary, Dana Delaney, Robert Loggia, Joseph Cross. He's our little boy.
Mm-hmm.
And Rosie O'Donnell, Donald Trump's favorite lady. Cinematography by Adam Hollander. Budget here was $6 million. Box office $282,000, which makes sense. Until we were decided to do all the M. Night movies, I'd never heard of this fucking movie. Even though I'm the biggest Rosie O'Donnell guy you could ever know.
I was gonna say you'd have to be obsessed with making sure you saw every one of her movies or like Dennis Leary's movies. Dana
Delaney, I did have a crush on back in the day, and we do have character actor Robert Loggia.
Yes.
Who is dead, but we do see him in flashbacks as the young boy is there. It's a Catholic school kid. His name is Joshua, and he wants to talk to God and know why all this shit sucks because Grandpa's dead.
Yeah, his grandpa, that's who Robert Loggia is, his grandpa, and he passed away over the summer. So he's back at school and he doesn't understand. And Rosie O'Donnell is his baseball-obsessed, obviously lesbian nun teacher.
She's obsessed. You can tell she's obsessed with baseball. Does she have a monologue about baseball?
She's always having pins on her shirt, and she compares things. I think she does like baseball analogies or sports analogies.
Yeah, she loves the Phillies, of course.
It's terrible, but
I think what bothered me here is that, I mean, Rosie O'Donnell was a comedian and a pretty big comedic actor, especially in the 90s. Mm-hmm. But I'm trying to remember if there's anything she said that was like really funny or clever, because the thing about M. Night Shyamalan movies, funny characters are only as funny as M. Night. Yeah. So it's like,
they're not funny.
They're not. It's not that funny.
Yeah.
Like, he's just not a good. To say it more specifically, he's not a good comedy writer.
Yes.
I think, funny's subjective, but like his approach is not great in that styling.
Well, it's the reason that things are funny in his movies that he seemingly does not intend to be. And then when he has a movie like when
his ghost dad sucks him off.
Like he didn't see that. But
that was funny.
The one in the concert with his daughter, that movie, that is a comedy.
He was trying to be really funny in that.
He was trying to be really funny, but then there are people who don't realize that that's a comedy.
Man, sitting through these movies, I was like, man, I wish I was watching Trap instead, honestly.
I would have rewatched Trap. I told you we could just watch Split 4 more times and I would have been fine.
Split is his good one. One of his few. His best friend is this kid named Dave.
9 months. I can't do it. You know what? The first week's always bad. And besides, if there was no school, there'd be no rules to break. feel like busting out. My best friend Dave is the adventurous type, a daredevil. Boring things like school give him headaches. Today he's having one of his I hate these wussy uniform headaches.
And there's these other boys that are presented like these ne'er-do-wells, but they're not that distinct.
Dave is the spiritual brother of Carol from Prancer. Yeah. He basically says, why the fuck do you even want to meet God? What if God's not real? What if there's no heaven? And then again, they almost have the same conversation of like, but then what about my grandpa?
All the adults know what Josh's mission is to talk to God. But no one, at least in their dialogue, even Rosie O'Donnell or anyone, seems to really give much more than the most surface, like, response to... Like, they're really not breaching anything here.
Yeah, he wants to have a deep conversation, and as soon as it gets deep at all, they cut him off.
You know, it's just that sometimes people need a chance to cry, to let go, to get things out. Maybe you never got that chance.
You know what? I don't want to talk about this anymore. Can I go?
Sure. That's all right. You can go. But hey, this wasn't so bad, was it?
Rosie O'Donnell sits him down to have a talking to.
And they barely talk about anything that he's talking about.
The priest kind of does okay, but he only talks to him like once.
Yeah, and these priests they're set up like everyone's like really nice and wise, but no one really like explains anything. Like they don't even come close. Like I spent this whole movie imagining what I would say to this kid, because ultimately this kid is mourning.
Yeah.
And I would just kind of give him the perspective of my age to be like, I know this is hard and you got to get used to not finding the answers that you're looking for. But, you know, your grandfather's always going to be with you. And when you're old enough, one day you're going to look in the mirror and you're going to see your grandfather looking right back at you, you know, and you'll know that he was always there. Now, that's just something off the top of my fucking dome.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not one adult even approaches that. And I'm not special. I'm just a guy that talks okay.
Do you think it's one of those... Because, let me preface this before I say it, M. Night does work a lot with kids. And the kids are often the ones who have the secret or the knowledge, or they're the ones seeking, right? It's almost his version of like a John Hughes parents are stupid. You know, they can't give him the answers because they don't have any answers to give. But they're not even honest about that.
Yeah.
That's the thing the priest gets the closest to, you know, is talking about like, you know, sometimes you have to believe things that you can't see. I think he's the one that says that. But yeah, you want it to start... I wanted it to start a conversation that then affected all of these people. Like, make them think about it, too. How do they feel about it?
Some kind of reverberation.
The mom, especially, it was her dad, right?
Yeah.
But the only thing that she does, which is a sweet gesture, is she cleans out the grandpa's room and he freaks out, but she's put grandpa's rocking chair in his bedroom. Well, fucking duh, that's the least you could do. She acts like, you don't have to give him away all at once. And it's like, yeah, bitch, you could have at least told him and let him pick, like, a few things he wanted to keep.
And Dennis Leary, who plays his dad, does nothing. He's just a body.
I forgot he was in it until you said his name.
He's just a body.
He's not even funny.
No. I mean, he never really was.
No, but you know, people tried. He tried.
I'm an asshole. Remember that song?
God, yes.
Well, he goes to talk to the cardinal because the cardinal would talk to God, but the cardinal is old as shit. I guess an old person would know nothing about talking to God.
Well, I really like that scene because he just realizes, at first he looks at the cardinal and the cardinal looks like so godly and important when he's in a distance. And then when he gets close to him, he's like, oh, he's just a man.
Yeah.
He's like basically the same as my grandpa. There's nothing special about him.
There's a girl he likes, but he's not having biological reactions just yet.
That
his sister is Julia Stiles.
Weird. Yes.
Julia Stiles' early appearance. He gets stuck in a pasture rail thingy with the fat kid, and I'm forgetting the point of that whole scene.
Well, the kid wanted to be such good friends with him that he tried to squeeze through with him, but I don't know the why of it except that they were there for like hours.
I think it was just supposed to be like a funny like gag bit.
I guess.
But I was wondering if I was forgetting that it correlated with something. Like maybe he was pursuing something and that caused him to miss it.
They were all going somewhere, but I don't even remember where.
There is a one point where a kid, I forget why they do this.
Mission journal entry. Robert Brickman took the Pope hostage today.
The kid takes a picture of the Pope off the wall and he goes sits in the rain on the jungle gym.
He was just that kid was just like an instigator. It seemed to me as though he just had some attention issues because he was just constantly running places. It wasn't the same kid as his best friend, because his best friend would do all kinds of crazy gags and stuff. You know, he was like a daredevil. But the kid that went out in the rain, he just seemed to like maybe he was like autistic or something.
The school is split. There's boys on this side and girls on this side. And the girls and the girl he will like, they do this thing where they're giving flowers to the Holy Virgin. It's like this pageant thing.
Oh yeah, this was fucking weird.
But she busts the whole pageant by walking up to the kid and handing him her flower.
And basically is like, I believe that you'll complete your mission.
Okay.
Or whatever. And it's like everyone's just staring. They have a whole conversation. She ruined the ceremony.
Yeah, it's like, okay, all right.
Also, if you believe in this shit, you probably just fucked some shit up for yourself with the Virgin Mary. She's not going to be happy about this.
Dave doesn't go to school one day and he's like, let's go after school. We'll go say what's up to Dave. And he goes to Dave and he finds Dave in his like this closet area they play in. The spacecraft or something. And then we realize in a very dramatic scene that Dave has epilepsy. And you'd think Dave was like set on fire the way he reacts to Dave having it. And I guess a young boy not witnessing that, I guess it could be a shaky thing.
Well, and the way... I know you didn't mean that. But
I didn't mean that. Oh, that's too good.
But okay, so they set it up in a way that is confusing because what you figure out later when they say that he has epilepsy is that he was playing in there by himself and he had a seizure, and because he was in such a small space, he thrashed around and hit his face and he broke his arm, I believe. And so when he finds him, Dave is bloodied. And so for a moment, like, you don't fucking know what happened. He's obviously out of it. Like, he's in a daze. It must have just happened. He's not in seizure, but he's bloody. And it's scary.
It is. I mean, I've known people with epilepsy who had seizures. I mean, and it seemed like Dave was seizing for a while.
Well, and it seemed like, was this his first one?
I think so.
That's what it seemed like to me as well. Like they figured it out because of this.
But this is like kind of similar to the climax of Praying with Anger, in that it just felt like, oh, something needs to be sad here right now.
Yeah, and then
that shakes everything up.
The kid loses his way, and he's like, my mission has failed, and he goes to see Dave in the hospital, and Dave's like, no, I believe now. I believe now because you found me. If you hadn't found me, I don't know what would have happened. So I believe now, and you have to keep looking for God.
If he had found, I mean,
I know.
He would have come out of it.
I don't think Dave was going to die.
People with epilepsy, once you can be medicated, you can live a life. You know, it's like the way,
yeah.
It wasn't unless you're seizing for more than like 2 minutes, which isn't often, but when that happens, like that's serious, then you should technically, it wouldn't be a fatal thing.
It's not like his parents don't know there's a cubby hole in there that they play in. Like, it's not like they wouldn't find. He kind of implied that no one would find him. Like, no one would have ever found him if he hadn't come. It was very dramatic.
He has a memory of his grandpa, where he's running a race and he falls, and they're going to call the race, and grandpa's like, no, wait. My grandson has to finish the race, and then he gets up and he finishes the race. And that's the answer from God. No, actually, he does talk to God.
You don't have to worry. He's happy now. Who? Dave? Yeah, he'll be all right. Not David. I better get back. They're taking the picture.
because there was a kid earlier in the movie that helped him look at like tests or something.
He's an angel.
And the kid walks up. He's like, your grandpa's okay, or something like that. And then Joshua realizes this child is God.
Oh, I just thought he was an angel.
Or angel, God.
Messenger, because he was like, your grandpa's okay.
He's like a little Gabriel. I felt like this movie was more annoying than Praying with Anger.
Yes.
Because it was just so underwhelming and just so flat. Like, just so fucking flat. And I think one compliment I'll give to the movie is that the child actor, the lead, is very good.
And I really liked the Dave kid too.
Yeah, the little ensemble, like, they did fine.
Yeah.
And we know that M. Night can have a bad habit of not pulling out good performances. But I think as far as like all the parents, like, they were written so flat that if they just performed flat, it just seemed normal. Yeah. But Joshua and Dave and a couple of the other kids, they did do a good job.
Julia Stiles did well too, because she really was like that annoyed older sister, but when he needed her, she helped him, and it was believable.
Yeah. I'm giving this a 2.25. No, I'm giving it a 2. I'm 2 it.
That's what I'm giving it a 2. So this is a 4.
4 for Wide Awake from 1998.
Oh, there's this thing where he will not wake up in the morning, and it's fucking annoying as shit.
That's the whole why the movie is named that.
His parents like carry him around and brush his teeth while he's asleep. It is stupid.
I thought he was just kind of playing hooky or something.
I did too. I thought he was trying to stay home sick.
But apparently this kid has a problem of taking forever to wake up, to where his parents are dragging him through the house until he wakes up.
So when he figures out that, you know, he loves God or whatever, the next morning he's wide awake and brushed his teeth, and he's down at the table dressed.
He's got a very specific form of narcolepsy, I guess.
Stupid.
Very tacked on. Very tacked on.
He is the last of his kind. All that remains of a once powerful nation. Some think he is a myth. Some believe he is the chosen one, who will bring balance to a world at war. And some will stop at nothing to destroy him.
All right, next movie is everyone's favorite, The Last Airbender. I don't know how to approach this movie. It cost $150 million. It made $319 million. And it was second behind Twilight Eclipse the weekend it opened. It's directed and written by M. Night Shyamalan, based on Avatar: The Last Airbender, a beloved Nickelodeon cartoon that I assumed was a manga anime thing.
Too.
It was written by a few guys here in the States. It was created by them. That is obviously inspired by anime.
They're fans.
And Chinese culture.
Yeah.
But it is like a beloved show that people really like. That apparently, as I understand it, teaches about acceptance and stuff like that. But it's also for kids too. So there's like a lot of slapsticky stuff in the cartoon, but it's a very generationally significant animated cartoon that people seem to really like.
People are obsessed with it still.
And I'm never going to go back and see that if I missed it, but I kind of do take people's word for it that this is a good quality show.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I can kind of see where they're coming from based on the surface that I've looked into it.
Yeah.
So you could imagine how excited everyone was.
We're here with some of the younger first fans for The Last Airbender, and we'll start with the youngest. What do you think?
It sucked.
It sucked. It's terrible.
It's horrible.
I really didn't like it.
Oh my God, they were so excited.
When they found out that M. Night Shyamalan was going to direct, finally, the live-action movie that they called The Last Airbender because James Cameron's Avatar was out. By the way, we haven't seen Fire and Water yet. Maybe we can see it sometime soon.
That'd be cool.
We were too busy leading up to Christmas.
We need to see it in the theater, so.
This movie stars Noah Ringer, who plays Ong.
Aang! The movie could have been as bad as it is right now, and if they had just called him Aang once!
Dev Patel, who's kind of become a big actor since then.
Yep.
He plays the fire boy who's angry.
I like him.
And he kind of broke. He is in the movie The Green Knight or The Monkey Man, some kind of action movie that came out a year or two ago. Like, he's been doing some things lately. And I was reading interviews where he's talking about how this movie caused him not to pursue big franchise kind of movies. And I felt like he was a little hard on himself in that sense. Also, the Razzies nominated him for worst performance.
That's not fair. I liked him the most.
He's a teenager.
Yeah.
These are kids. And look, the performance, like, don't get me wrong, the performances in this movie suck. But I do not blame a single child in this movie. It just like I didn't blame a single child in that fucking the one with Oprah where A Wrinkle in Time.
Yeah, that's not the kid's fault.
Yeah, that the same principle here. It is on the director to pull out that emotion and to figure out how to make a beloved franchise not seem like, once again, in the similarities of After Earth, like a bad RPG where you're just going from one point to another, the end.
Yeah, and this movie also suffers from what I think is one of M. Night's villain superpowers of making a 2.5 hour movie feel like a 6.5 hour movie. He knows how to somehow make the tiniest things last forever.
It was like an hour 40 minutes.
We've had to pause at one point. It was only an hour and 40 minutes. I thought it was like 2.5 hours. This is what I'm saying. And we had to pause at one point, and there was still like an hour left, and I was like, I don't want to. Or maybe that was Lady in the Water. Who knows? They all run together at some point. I also didn't know until the end. This was obviously meant to be the first part of a trilogy because he only learns air and water. He knows air and he learns water, but you've still got earth and fire, and we're never going to get there because no one was going to make a sequel to this movie.
It seemed like he wasn't good at things, but when he tried it a little bit, like, to me, it looked like he was doing a good job.
Because he was the Avatar.
Yeah.
Because it's in his bone.
The Avatar, he got frozen in ice, like Steve Rogers. Like Steve Rogers with a big creature. And then the water people, who are Sokka and Katara. Another thing about casting, like, people were mad that... Because all these are supposed to be based on Chinese characters. I'm kind of on M. Night's side in this sense where he's like a lot of the fire people were Indian.
Yeah.
Asaf Manvi, who was a Daily Show correspondent, was like the general or something.
I couldn't figure out where I knew him from.
And he's a comedian.
Yeah.
I mean, India is in Asia, so I don't think it was that big a deal. But I think people were annoyed that there were white people stuck in and which looked like they should have been like Pacific Island Inuit kind of people or something. The water, they were from the south where it was cold.
Yeah, there was.
But they find Ong, the boy.
Aang!
Yeah, and the girl that finds him is the only one from her part of the world who knows how to control the water. And so she's the one that breaks him out. But we find out that he was in that fucking bubble for 100 years. And while he's been in the bubble, the fire people have taken over the world. And the reason he was in the bubble is because he didn't want to become the Avatar because he didn't want to not have a family. He's too young to even be worried about, I can't have kids one day.
So everyone is thinking that Avatar is dead because all his people also got destroyed.
Yes, but there's always supposed to be an Avatar. So everyone's been looking for him. They just don't know where he's gone.
He's been frozen in ice in the south.
And they know he didn't die because if he had died, a new Avatar would have been born.
Dev Patel plays Zuko, the disgraced prince who still has a lot of power.
I am Prince Zuko, son of Fire Lord Ozai and heir to the throne. Bring me all your elderly.
And he wants to bring the Avatar back to his father to get in good with his father, but he's also very mad at his father.
Well, his father disowned him.
At the end, we meet his sister, and that's set up by him mentioning her randomly once.
Yeah, they showed her one time before the end.
Leaving it ending like for a sequel we never got. So basically, we're going from temples to temples to temples. When he goes to the Monk Air Temple, like they were talking about how it's destroyed. Well, I guess all the people were killed, but they left the temple completely intact. Like, it actually looks very good.
Yeah, it just had, like, maybe some vines on the outside.
They met an Earth Girl, and you think Earth Girl's going with them? No. They just stop and say hello.
Yeah, well, I thought it was a little boy, but yeah, that town,
maybe it
that's
is,
when they realized, because his father did some Earth shit, and, like, saved them. But that's when they tell people that he's the Avatar, so it starts giving hope. So they start going around to all these villages on their way to the north where he needs to learn water. They stop every fucking where to give people hope.
Sure, yeah.
That's all they're doing, though. They're not, like, changing anything, really.
Now, the Avatar kid, Ong.
Characters really screwed up each other's names.
You don't take the main character and change his name.
No, you don't, because it's such a letdown. His name is Aang.
In the cartoon, he has an arrow on his head. And in the movie, they made the stylized choice of having like a henna type design on his head that glows when he channels his ability.
Yeah.
The kid who plays Ong did seem like a kid, Noah Ringer. I think he's from Texas.
Huh.
He was a little martial artist.
Yeah.
That won competition swinging bow staffs around. His favorite fucking show was Avatar: The Last Airbender. And imagine getting like cast in that. It'd be like if they came up to me when I was 10 years old and they're like, we're making an X-Men movie. You get to be an X-Man. I would have like shat my fucking pants.
For sure.
So it kind of made me sad about what we got from this movie and that it wasn't very good because this kid seemed like he was born to play this role.
I wanted him to be good. Or I wanted the movie to be good for him. I did feel like every one of these people could have done so much more.
In terms of his physicality and what he could do, you could tell that the kid had a lot of talent. But
he carried himself.
But M. Night cannot direct action. Like, it's slow-mo city for one, right?
Oh, God,
and I mean, it's like a Zack Snyder, but Zack Snyder can do action a little better than this, all right? Like, some action sequences Zack Snyder can pull off. It's just the everything else that he sucks at. But here, it's like nothing's really going off. Also, this is a time where 3D was making its other round of comeback. So you could tell that there were a lot of scenes that seemed flat as we were viewing that probably would have like popped out more if we were.
Think about that.
But like, because there's tons of CGI, but it just still seemed very flat.
Well, and there seemed to be no correlation. Again, we haven't seen the cartoon, so maybe this is that way. But there seemed to be no correlation between the dance moves they were doing and what was happening. It's like they would do a bunch of stuff, and I guess you could think about it like a spell or something. But then all of a sudden, it would just be a firebolt. And I'm assuming that's what you're talking about, too. That might have seemed like it kind of flew at you, but it just didn't. I don't know. It seemed like a lot of between things happening for them to move around a bunch.
It seemed like a lot of what young Noah was doing looked cool, but it didn't seem to correlate directly with the combat.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like, do a bunch of moves, spin a bunch of shit, then this water line goes throws out there.
Yeah, but you like want it to like come out of his hand or something.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know how the cartoon does, but as I understood it, as what I would glean a little bit from the cartoon, just on the surface, I was thinking, of course, with every bad movie, I'm like, what would I do different?
Yeah.
And I think what I would have approached here is make it feel like more of a kid's movie and make it zanier and like sillier. I would have like leaned into that part
Have
of
some
it.
actual comedy.
And also try to get like, imagine something that's very funny, very silly, and then the combat starts and it just looks like something like blowing your fucking mind, you know? And I think having that in like Police Story, when we watch Police Story,
oh my god,
that's a pure comedy with some of the amazing action sequences.
Most amazing.
It's a very silly movie, and yet it's also one of the most amazing movies to watch.
Truly.
And it might be a little too much to ask for a little kid from Texas to be Jackie Chan. I understand that, but that's just an example of how that balance works perfect.
Could be his version of that.
When this seemed to be just almost a little too serious.
Yeah.
And just flat. Just again, flat. That's the word that keeps coming up.
I thought that it kind of sucked if you like Avatar the show.
I don't actually think M. Night Shyamalan has ever even seen this show.
I want to tear down M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah, and again, they are looking for the Avatar, and they have to get to the north, and when they finally get there, the brother falls in love with the princess, and she takes him to this place where there's these two giant koi fish, not explaining who they are.
Again, they just fall like immediately. It's not like a leading up. Like,
oh yeah, he sees her and they're like, we're in love.
There's no push and pull trope where one's like mean to the other or they hate each other at first and then come around. No,
Nothing.
It's just immediately like, okay, they're together.
Yeah, he's like, I will protect her, and she's like, I love you. I'm going to say it till the end.
But you're talking about the moon spirit.
The moon spirit and the sun spirit, but we don't know that until...
Water and moon.
Okay, water and moon.
Get it right.
Water and moon together.
Get your shit correct.
But they don't tell us that until later because the other guy who's like trying to prevent Zuko from finding the Avatar, he and the king or whatever have decided that they need to kill these gods. And he's trying to find the gods. And right as he's going to kill them, we find out that the princess is only alive because the moon went into her when she was born because she was like dead for a couple days. And then her parents like put her in the water. And so she's got white hair. And so he stabs the
moon deity.
And the world's going to end or something.
You figure they would have put some guards on that moon deity cave?
They were just in a cave.
Especially if the Fire Clan is literally barreling down upon you.
These are your gods. You would think also they would have constant attendance. They're gods.
Also, there's a point where Zuko rescues Aang in a disguise.
Yes, from the other guy.
From the other guy, because he wants to be the one.
I liked that part.
And you like Zuko.
I like
Zuko was
Zuko.
all right with you.
He was okay.
And there's a point where Zuko, it appears like he doesn't escape this explosion from this thing. And you don't expect him to be dead. You expect him to maybe appear in a dramatic way, but it's not in a dramatic way. His uncle is just talking about him like he's gone, and then he turns around and he's just right there. It's like, you couldn't, what drama misspent.
Yeah. The uncle also was always on the edge of, saying something intelligent, like the edge of maybe guiding him. He would try to talk him into, why don't we just settle down in a town and you be happy with a woman. And he couldn't let go of this whole dad thing. But we find out later, his dad burnt his face and disowned him when he was a child. He's grown up with his father hating him and him being banished. It's kind of terrible.
Well, the dragon in his head says, hey, you got to show them the water power.
Oh, that's another god he talks to, this dragon.
And so then it takes him a while, but Aang does a big, massive tidal wave that turns back the fire ships.
Also, the blondie girl goes into the water and sacrifices herself because the moon that was in her goes back into the koi fish, and she saves the world.
Dev Patel apparently trained for this role while he was in filming Slumdog Millionaire. That was his breakout role with Slumdog Millionaire. But he was training. He did martial arts training for this movie. And I already talked about the casting controversy, which feels like only half a controversy, really. I guess I understand if you wanted all Asian cast, because the show is essentially all Asian characters. But I don't know. If the movie just fucking totally sucks, then it just doesn't matter in hindsight. Yeah. This movie, with the not great action, was kind of credited as being one of the ones that sent the 3D hype back down. M. Night tried to defend this movie for a while, and now he doesn't. But he only defends the ones like this and After-Earth that he didn't conceive directly. So when people are like, hey, these two movies suck, he's like, yeah, they do.
That wasn't my idea anyway.
The only person I could really find that looked back fondly was Asif Manvi, who, did a lot of cool training and stuff for it. Like, yeah. I would, as an actor, if I had got to do a bunch of martial arts training, like, even if the movie sucks, I couldn't imagine that would be a bad experience,
Yeah.
But it was a bad experience for the viewer. That's why I'm only giving this a 1.
I'm also going, do I even want to give it a 1? Yeah, I'll give it a 1 for Zuko, whatever his name was.
Zuko, we didn't think you were that bad, Dev.
I liked you, man.
Don't be so hard on yourself, Dev.
He was very one note, but that's what they are.
Yeah.
That's what it's
so was
gonna
everyone
be
else
in this movie. But I liked him.
I'm Cleveland Heap. Welcome to the Cove. I hear splashing some nights. Hello?
Hey! I saw you! I saw you!
Who in the world are you?
My God, you have an animal size.
I don't know who you are, but you did something to my thoughts.
Where are you from?
The blue world.
When the door to her world is opened.
Oh my God.
Others will come through.
What did you think it was? Some kind of dog? Are there any wolves in this area? Hyenas?
An animal that size doesn't just walk around not be seen.
And the fate of this world.
Why is she here?
She's trying to save us.
Does man deserve to be saved?
Lies in her hands.
What do you see?
Cleveland, run! Did something go wrong?
What's happening? I thought it was gonna be safe!
M. Night Shyamalan's Lady in the Water.
How many of you are there?
And finally, we are discussing
Finally, the one we forgot.
the forgotten film.
I was excited to watch this, but you know, I know we say when you watch something and you saw it decades ago, it doesn't really matter. In this case, that is 1000% true because I didn't remember a single fucking thing about this movie except who was in it.
Lady in the Water from 2006, written and directed by the man, starring Paul Giamatti, a guy that your dad thinks I look like, and he's kind of right. Bryce Dallas Howard, Bob Balaban, Jeffrey Wright, Sarita Choudhury, Freddie Rodriguez, etc. Cinematography by Christopher Doyle.
Also, M. Night Shyamalan's largest role in one of his movies since his first movie.
Too large.
He was in it too much. I think with this movie and with all the movies we've discussed tonight, maybe not Last Airbender, but again, that wasn't his idea. So many movies we've watched this year, he is just constantly seeking something, whether it's religion or answers or inspiration. And this one is a very inspiration. Like, where does it come from? And in this case, the Earth's going to die unless something supernatural happens.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know.
I guess that's what's going to happen.
But he himself plays the one being inspired, so...
Well, we'll get into his role in here. But Paul Giamatti plays Cleveland, who lives in Philadelphia. They all do. All except the Last Airbender, everyone's in Philly. And he's the custodian, property manager, stutterer of this complex. There's a whole cast of characters in this. There's a Korean girl and her mother. There's this lady who's really good with animals. There's a film critic nerd
who just moved in,
played by Bob Balaban, who I think M. Night is trying to say something through him. In terms of critics.
Yes, he is.
I mean, it's not. I don't think that it is that.
It is that.
What brings you out here from the West Coast, Mr. Farber?
Well, I've been hired to be the local film and book critic for the paper.
They flew you all the way out here for that?
They did.
Oh, you must be very good.
So we got a dude who only works out one arm. He's got a buff arm. Jeffrey Wright plays the puzzle guy. We got an apartment full of stoners.
The puzzle guy has a very smart little son.
And, something's wrong with the pool. It's slick.
The water's slick, and the filter is full and goopy after being cleaned the day before. And Cleveland is hearing splashing noises at night.
And it's Splash too.
Truly felt like that for the first 15 minutes of this movie.
So he goes out to the pool and he sets something by the pool, and we see a girl.
It's a necklace.
Pop out, grab the necklace, and go back into the water.
Mm-hmm. He had just picked it up off the ground, but she grabbed it.
And he's like, "Oh my god!"
He's like, "I saw you! I saw you!"
All right, you can come out, and then no one's coming up, and he's like, "Oh my god, is someone drowning?" So he starts to walk around.
And he jumps in. Yeah.
And then he gets back out because he doesn't see anyone. And then he slips and hits his head, and he falls back in, and he wakes up in his apartment, and there's a girl, Bryce Dallas Howard.
Wearing one of his button-down shirts.
Just wearing one of his button-down shirts. And you know what's weird?
What?
This movie's called Lady in the Water.
You can say anything right now. She doesn't get back in the water.
She doesn't get back in the fucking water.
Well, she came from the water,
she
has to be in water or she'll die.
We don't get we don't get any shots of her swimming?
No, we never see her swim. We never see her in her little house that he finds underneath the pool.
If there's going to be, if your movie's going to be called Lady in the Water, can we get not a few shots?
Should have been called Lady in the Shower.
The lady in the shower is more like it. I guess that is a water. Maybe that's what they meant.
But she was in the shower for most of the movie.
So they're talking.
Where are you from?
The blue world.
Is that an apartment?
Do you feel an awakening?
I'm sorry.
It will feel like pins and needles inside.
Her name is Story.
My name is Story.
I didn't mean for you to tell me.
She's from the blue world. She doesn't want to talk about it.
She can't.
She asked him if you feel like an awakening or something like that. He realized he doesn't stutter around her. She falls asleep and he goes, "Who are you anyway?" And she's like, "I'm a narf."
Yeah, in her sleep, she says narf. And then I don't even know why he ends up talking to the Korean mother and daughter.
That night, he's like, "Okay, I'm going to set you out on the pool chairs for whatever reason." And then he notices these creatures. And then he barely gets her and him back into their place.
Yeah, it's one creature.
So
the turducken.
So somehow he catches on a little too easily that he should talk to this Korean girl's mother who knows the story about water nymphs. So it's not this reveal like, oh my God, she's a water nymph. No, we know pretty early on. But the Korean girl's mother is only just, I don't know why they don't just sit down and just say the whole lore. She has to explain it in portions throughout the movie.
Like days to get this whole story from this woman, culminating in him having to act like a fucking toddler to get her to tell him the end of the story. It is so stupid. It's also supposed to be a bedtime story, so it shouldn't. That's an insane amount of details. She's
a narf, a sea nymph, and they have a person to see them, even though it seems like a lot of people can see her. And I just assume that this was all based upon some kind of, like, I know like a sea nymph is like a mythological thing. Real. But all the shit surrounding it is completely made up. Narfs, scrunts, scumps, comes.
Turduckens. Listen, I think that makes total sense because that's why you have to have a grandma tell you every single thing as it happens so you'll understand what the fuck he's trying to do, because we don't have any reference for this.
But I think if an idea has a reference, though, then there's something you could kind of go back on to.
I know.
Because then you're just making all this up. And it seems even more awkward when he's going around and he's being like, all right, I need a writer. All right, you're the healer. And no one is like, you're insane. No one says that to him.
Well, because
he knows a little too quickly that he has to put all this together to save the world.
Well, he finds out because he does try to, they try to let the eagle come and get her, but she can't. They can't because they find out she's like some like hero nymph or something. She's like the mother of all nymphs. She didn't know this. And then what I don't understand is because they believe him once they see her. I think that's the deal. He gets them down, they see her, and they go, okay, right. This beautiful naked woman would not be in his house unless she was a nymph.
They're all staring at
so
a nude nymph in his shower and not acting like she's just a nude lady.
Well, there's one part where M. Night Shyamalan's sister is the only one that gets to see her. She sits there and stares at the naked woman and like translates to them what she's saying. But yeah, because she is this hero one, she needs a guild and she needs a healer and she needs this author, which is M. Night Shyamalan.
M. Night is the writer, as it turns out, and he's writing something called, it's very bizarre. This whole movie, I'm just like, what? Why? Why? And then, because Paul Giamatti's like, he's like, oh, I think you're the writer, and they're like, oh, I'm just working on something. And then he sees his manuscript, it says like it's a cookbook, which you're still writing if you're writing a cookbook.
But he doesn't flip a single page.
But he doesn't, he thinks like, oh, it's a cookbook. That's not a real writer. But I was like, it could still qualify. But then he goes back and it's explained like, no, his novel is called The Cookbook. And then, but M. Night Shyamalan has cast himself in this role as a writer whose destiny is to inspire everyone, but he will die.
In the Midwest of this land, will grow up in a home where your book will be on the shelf and spoken of often. He will grow up with these ideas in his head. He will grow into a great orator. He will speak and his words will be heard throughout this land and throughout the world. This boy will become leader of this country and begin a movement of great change. He will speak of you and your words. Your book will be the seeds of many of his great thoughts. Be the seeds of change.
He's the chosen one.
The chosen one who will be sacrificed.
There for him.
And this poor critic who is like, every time he talks, you just assume that M. Night's just reading one of the criticisms of his movies every time. He gets killed. It could not be less subtle.
I know.
It could not be less subtle.
Well, and there's a whole plot point where it's like Cleveland goes to talk to him and asks him, you know, like if this were a plot, like what would happen? And then he goes off of everything the critic says and it's all wrong. And then he's like, well, of course it's all wrong. It's just what he thinks is going to happen or supposed to happen. He doesn't know anything. This critic doesn't know shit.
One thing that really confused me, because I thought the Cleveland character was going to end up being the writer because she had found all these journals.
I know, but
and
it's just to find out.
I thought that was telling us that he was actually the writer.
Because she says your words are beautiful.
Your words are very beautiful. Your heart is very big.
But he's not.
It makes sense that he's the healer because
his words are beautiful
her.
And they're set that way, and it's only so that she can reveal to all of us that someone murdered his wife and children.
Yes, and he used to be a doctor.
Yeah, he was a doctor.
That's the only time she mentioned it. She's like, you were a doctor. So this movie is so, like, you remember that once you find out that he is the healer, but it's just told, this movie is not told well.
There's a point where the Korean mom said, you got to collect ki, which is nymph mud.
Right, because she got poison scratches
also,
from the...
And there's supposed to be 3 Tartutic monkeys who no one who has seen them has lived because they're so fucking evil. So he has to go into the water, into a special room she has built in the pool. Mm-hmm. We see Paul Giamatti swimming more than we see the lady in the water.
Yes.
And this scene
He's
is like
the only one we see swim.
And this is the most Indiana Jones shit. Like this schlubby custodian, like in a harrowing. He's like, it's Indiana Jones. He finds some mud artifact in a pool in a secret passage. He thinks he's going to drown. He finds some trapped air in a cup, and he sucks that. I thought that part was kind of
I don't know
cool.
where he got a straw.
And that's a good question. And then he manages to open the door and get back. But this guy, he could not have been more nonplussed about having to swim and be underwater for 5 minutes.
I'm surprised they didn't give him asthma or something.
The athleticism that this guy showed the Giamatti's character showed in here.
But it makes sense later because he's the healer, so he had to be able to do it. Because these people that are there to help her have superhuman abilities that they don't know they have until they need them.
I guess Narf's her prophets too, because she tells him that he will die or something.
I think it's because she's the Queen Narf that she can do that.
And, you know, I often compliment some cinematography in Shyamalan movies, but there's a couple shots in here that was so weird. There's a point where they figure out how to get answers out of the nymph. She's in the shower, but we see Cleveland talking to the people as they're communicating. But it literally looks like Bryce Dallas Howard maybe wasn't there to film that day. Because when you see her, it's just her.
Yeah, because only the sister's seeing her, so it's from like the sister's POV. But then when they're talking, she didn't even need to be there. I mean, they probably didn't make her sit in the shower for as long as it took to film all that, for sure.
I think she just wasn't there.
Sure.
Because that's what it looked like. And then when Bryce Dallas Howard returns, they just shot her portion straight on into her face in the scene. But it was just so noticeable to me. Like, oh, she wasn't there for that shoot at all. They could have done that scene like, I don't know that for a fact.
Yeah.
But it just looked awkward. And there was another point where they're trying to figure out that everything they thought may have been a little different. And the camera is locked in on Cleveland's out of focus head, but we hear other people talking like outside the frame, and the camera doesn't move. And I have no idea why this shot choice. It was not a nice looking shot choice to park it on Cleveland's blurry head while everyone is talking around him, and yet the camera's not moving to anyone else. Like, I just didn't understand it. I didn't understand anything about this movie. I don't think there's really anything to understand. I think it's all very surface, but I just found myself throughout this whole movie, as they gave us more lore pulled directly out of the ass, I was like, sure, man. Yeah, okay. Because there's no, like, suspense. There's no thrill in the process, because I'm still, I'm trying to wrap my head around this one thing that you completely made up, that everyone is just accepting, that we see the scrunts, but we don't really see anything. And I'm just like, sure, man. And just, like, as I'm trying to wrap my head around one concept, we go to another, and I was like, oh, okay. Sure, man.
Yeah, we've talked about he's got his comedy, he's got his horror movie, he's got his environmental film. This is his attempt at making a fable. He's trying to make his own version of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Like a fairy tale?
A fairy tale.
Yeah.
This is a fairy tale. But this entire movie is just a vehicle for us to learn the fairy tale that he made up.
Yeah, and this is why it should be based in something that is historical, because I think there would just be something you could look back on, like a foundation, but there's really no foundation here.
Even if it's, just take part of it. Like, you can do like a historical fiction situation, but ground it in something.
I wrote in my notes here, 10 pounds of plot in a 5-pound movie. One neighbor knows Cleveland's history.
I liked the shot of that guy. That was the only time that I thought to myself, this is a good, like, framing, because he was someone who never left his apartment, but his door was always open, I guess, we just always saw it from Cleveland's POV, but he's sitting in a room and he's always watching news, and he's surrounded by books, and he knows his shit. He knows everything about everybody.
There's one point where she keeps getting scratched up because she is trying to leave, and then the scrunts get her. And they have to rescue her again. There's one point where she's dead, but it turns out he's the healer, so he does heal her.
With the help of all the daughters from the guy upstairs.
My notes say in all caps, the fuck is this concept?
And they say something to, like, channel, and he just talks to his dead family.
I kept forgetting he had a dead family, because we get it halfway through in the most unsubtle way possible.
They remind you when the guy tells him he knows, but it's just, you shouldn't have to remind us so much.
But they do the prophecy, and the scrunts come out, the Tartunic monkeys show up. They don't seem that evil. They just do their job attacking the thing that they want them to attack. And then the eagle comes down and grabs Story, the nymph.
And no one can look at it happening, so we see it through a reflection. Kind of.
Yeah, and that's it.
Goodbye. End of... Another
1.25.
movie.
1.25.
1.
2.25. This is why I'm not. You gotta write. Sometimes you gotta keep writing a movie until it makes.
You know what?
sense.
Oh God, I don't know.
You gotta keep going.
Man, I really do enjoy our main character.
Paul Giamatti. Yeah, he's great.
With what Paul Giamatti is the kind of actor who, even when he's given crap, he can find something in it. And there is an otherworldly, ethereal quality about what's her face that you can't deny. So Bryce Dallas Howard. So Bryce Dallas Howard is perfectly cast
you
for
cast
this.
a water nymph. She looks it. Yeah.
I actually am going to up mine. I'm going to give it an extra 0.5, so we're at 2.5 because of the casting.
Okay.
I think that made a difference, that it would have been even harder to watch if those two people weren't there.
I might have found this like among the most obnoxious of his movies, truly.
It felt very pretentious.
Yeah. Oh,
because every time he was on screen, I was like, why the fuck are you playing this part?
He wrote himself as the savior author and murdered the critic.
Savior of all the world.
Yeah.
The world.
Chill on this, brother. Chill on this. Well, this is a point where, this movie barely broke even. And so there was he wanted to do this through Disney. And then Disney was like, what's with the story? And he's like, you know what? You don't let me be me. I'll shop this around.
Oh, God.
And he is a guy that made a lot of money for that studio. So he went to somewhere else and they made it. And it ended up, they didn't make that much money off.
They did say to him, this doesn't make sense.
And this seems like pretty much his lull period until we start getting back into maybe like The Visit. Like he starts making money again with The Visit and Old and all that stuff and Split. So he is back to making profit.
Yeah.
But this is kind of an era where he was just like, he was rightfully so taking some real hard critical hits.
I mean, I remember so many conversations of, Signs was great, but you can't rewatch, or not Signs. I always say that. The Sixth Sense was great, but you can't rewatch it. And it's kind of been downhill from there.
But that's it. We've done it. M. Night's in the bank. How do you do in averages?
You add everything together and then you divide it by the total number.
Do it.
Okay.
While I talk, you come up with the average score. Now, our last year's director was Lars Von Trier. He averaged around a B. A lot of people may think he's a solid A director. No, he's got some stinkers. He's got some what you doing, but he's also a really creative guy, and he did pull it off more often than he didn't. But M. Night, whoo, especially after today's selections, he's got one A movie, and that's Split. After that, he's got 2 Bs. 3 Bs. Knock at the Cabin, The Sixth Sense, and Unbreakable. Those are Bs. So those are his only above Cs. I think he's going to average out to a C-, but Angela's going to tell us here. And while she does that, I'm going to tell you who next year's director is going to be. Is it going to be John McTiernan or Catherine Bigelow? Well, I decided to go with Catherine Bigelow because she's got some military propaganda movies that I think are very relevant to the things that have been going on today, lately. I did want to talk about John McTiernan movies, and I think we still might, but it would only take about a couple of episodes to get through the rest of the Catherine Bigelow movies that we have yet to discuss. So we will be talking about K-9 Widowmaker. We'll be talking about the movie Detroit, Zero Dark 30, The Hurt Locker, Point Break. And so we got some action under our belt, and we will be talking about all the movies, the rest of the movies. We've already discussed Near Dark. Go look for that. But yes, all of Catherine Bigelow's films will be discussed in 2026. Tell us M. Night Shyamalan's average based upon our scoring system.
4.625.
Ooh, buddy.
Before today, it would have been higher.
So a C-. C-, M. Night.
You called it.
I'm not rooting against him. I actually think that as far as a person himself, there is something I kind of like about the guy. But there's just something that really gets lost in translation in terms of a lot of quality. But he but he never not hits. We've got about.
But he goes from a 1.5 to an 8. Like that's the range.
It's insane. It's insane how up and down he can be. But he's got a movie coming out next year based on a book he did with Nicholas Sparks. And hey, we'll probably watch it. Why not? I don't know.
Well, sure.
We
should.
The way we approach movies now is so different. I remember a time in my younger days where I would get really mad if I paid for a movie that was bad. Now it's fine. It's all right.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get mad. We're older now. We know real issues now.
Yeah.
We've taken real losses.
We understand.
We're not going to get mad at watching a movie. Not at this point in our fucking lives, even if it's shitty. Because we'll just get to talk about how shitty it is.
Yep.
But next year's director, big time, Catherine Bigelow. That's right, baby. You excited? Talk about Catherine Bigelow movies?
Sure.
It'll be split into 2 episodes. Also, let me tell you about something else. We're going to be doing trilogies, pecking away at trilogies next year.
I'm more excited about that.
So there will be episodes just devoted to 3 movies. And I thought this episode was going to be that, but we had forgot that Lady in the Water existed. And I'll go back to trying to forget that it existed. Our first trilogy is going to be the first 3 Mission Impossible movies, which I do think make a nice trilogy. And that's not an official trilogy, I don't think, but to us,
we do what we want.
As trilogists, we do what we want.
We do what we want.
Also, and this is one that I've been setting up for a while, making lists for a long time. Movies about states. Movies that are set in states, that are supposed to be set in states. They can be filmed other places, but the idea of the movie is that it is in certain states. And each state will have, most states will have 2 parts, 1s and 2s, 5 movies each. But New York, California, Texas, and Florida all have 4 parts. 20 movies for these states.
Hell yeah.
And I don't know when we'll get to when, but we are going to go into order of statehood, which means we are going to start with the state that I had the hardest time pulling movies for. Trivia, folks. What's the first state in American history?
I thought Delaware.
It is Delaware.
I know. Cool. I got something right.
Credit card company's favorite state, Delaware. It was very hard to narrow down the movies for Delaware. And so there's one choice where it's like, it's Delaware inspired, but it is not in Delaware. And it's an animated movie. And I'm like, okay. Some of these picks I had to stretch. You know, there's some states where I was like, God, I have to get rid of some of these. I can't talk about all these movies. And then there was states like Delaware. It was like, please God, let there be one more Delaware movie. But but even in the Delaware ones, there will be at least 1 or 2 movies that you'll know. Like Fight Club is unofficially set in Wilmington, Delaware, the movie version. And apparently there are cutscenes that actually direct that reference that directly. And in the actual movie, I think there's a shot of a license plate. Okay. And that's the only key tell. But even though the movie was shot in Los Angeles, it is considered a movie that is set in Wilmington, Delaware. And what's another one? Goosebumps is another one. A John Cryer movie. The guy who's doing the X series, Pearl, and that guy, Ty West, we're going to watch one. He's from Delaware. We're going to watch one of his earliest low-budget movies.
Cool.
And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So hopefully within the next month, we will be getting started on that. And another thing, one other topic we'll be discussing that'll be drug out throughout the year is, well, some of you may remember, like 5 of you, where we discussed one of our favorite themes is The Left-Hand Endeavor, where we talked about classic film noir. Because we love classic film noir and we love modern crime. My favorite kind of movie is noir, neo-noir, crime movies, stuff like that. That is my absolute favorite. And I was hankering another overarching theme throughout the next year, just so I can get my crime movie fixes in. The Left-Hand Endeavor 2, Criminal Lives. And I'm really excited about some choices we're going to do.
We got some fun stuff in the mail.
It's just a matter of who we need to. Oh, we're going to get into some James Cagney because he's the king. And we'll be talking about some movies I've been wanting to talk about and watch for a long time. It's just a matter of, like, what should we start with? Gangsters? Heists? Hitmen? Like I have little subcategories for each one that all encompass The Left Hand Endeavor 2, Criminal Lives. So I'm pumped. And who knows how often we'll be putting things out. Again, our format did change this year. We used to be 3 times a week minimum, but we are still dropping Documenteers episodes. There's hundreds of those, so that will encompass all of next year and probably the following year too, where we're reposting our first ever movie discussion podcast where we talked about documentaries called Documenteers. Those will still drop every Tuesday. And because I stupidly took down the RSS feed, so eventually all of Documenteers will be back up, and it'll be on YouTube for the first time. It was only ever on podcasts, and so now when I'm reposting, it is going to be on YouTube for the first time, even though it'll be static images. But look at this. This is practically a static image. But that's it. That is absolutely what we're going to discuss. And other than what I mentioned, maybe close to Oscar time, we'll probably watch some Oscar bait movies that we might have missed to prepare for that. But other than that, that's all we're going to do next year.
Yep.
How that's spaced out, who knows? You'll find out.
4 of those things that are huge projects that Bob just described to you. That's all we're going to do next year. Didn't even mention Halloween Humfest, but I don't know if we're going to be able to do all this. I don't know if we can go full blown, but we can pick 6 movies at least. Yeah, I think there's also some, the last 2 years before this recent Halloween Humfest, we had watched Hellraiser 1 and 2, and we never watched the third one. So I think there's things that we could get into. We could do a week of Chucky. Something like that.
Chucky.
Yeah.
And that does it. And hope you all had a good holiday season. I hope your new year is good. And we will see you before too long. We love you. And let's hope that next year is better than this one.
We love you. Right? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thank you for watching and listening to the Projectors podcast. You can help us out by subscribing to us on YouTube or your preferred podcast listening application, where we have hundreds more film discussions. Though our more recent episodes will be spread out, we are currently reposting episodes of our very first film podcast called Documenteers, in which we discuss documentary films. We're reposting those episodes every Tuesday until we're done, as well as anthology collections of our shorts once a month. Help us out by subscribing, recommending, listening, and leaving a nice review of the show wherever you can do such things. Thank you once again, and we formally apologize for anything Bob ever said ever.
It was too rushed, dude. They didn't have enough detail in it.
They skipped a lot of things. The acting wasn't good.
I've never been more disappointed in a movie.
I'll be happy if they at least said Aang once. Aang!
I thought that it kind of sucked if you like Avatar the show.
I want to tear down M. Night Shyamalan.